it's interesting because the protest movements in some way have flipped. I mean, there's, racial, that's the sort of big protest movement in Bonfire. And now, despite the crash in '87 and, this image of the avaricious capitalist, the Wall Street, Oliver Stone sort of nonsense, not a huge 1% Occupy Wall Street movement. It's the racial end. Now you don't, as you point out, you're not going to have these kind of Sharpton type protests, but you do have protests against Wall Street now. What?
2006 with Sunday Morning.
And don't miss out on the Big Apple buttons.
Or this summer, you will find Tom Wolfe bedecked in a white suit and blasting out wry, wicked language, aiming to irritate anyone who thinks they're too smart, too rich, or too important.
When I opened this, I wondered if Tom Wolfe's famous feistiness may have subsided a little bit over the years. It hasn't.
Well, I just try to bring truth.
What has changed? I mean, in your piece, you talk about this being a kind of computers and, acres of them making decisions and stuff. Is that what it is? I mean, is that what is sort of terrifying about this? You can tip over the economy with the press of a button?
Well, see, it needed the whole 99-1 protest needed the press to create a case. But this country...
In his latest book, Wolfe argues speech, not evolution, is responsible for humanity's highest achievements. He skewers the man who introduced evolution to the masses, Charles Darwin, along with famed linguist Noam Chomsky.
I came to the conclusion that Darwinism, the theory of evolution, is another myth. And it's no use saying that human beings evolved from animals because they're creatures with totally different powers. If you
has no class feelings. I mean, you can manufacture a class by saying these people have this amount of money and servants.
Yeah.
And you can call that an upper class, but people cannot act as if they're part of a superior class in this country. I remember once being with my father. I was very small and went to a service station.
You have the power of speech. That's also the power of memory.
It is bold, and I think some would say very dangerous, to say that Darwinism and evolution is a myth.
Well, I think a lot of people don't agree with me. But the problem with evolution is you have to wait 6 or 7 million years. It's a little hard to recall.
It is not hard to recall Wolfe's achievements. He crashed the print party in the 60s with essays and arguments that used bold language.
And he rather peremptorily told the mechanic he wanted this done, I wanted this done immediately. And the mechanic said, "Don't get your bowels in an uproar." And my father actually laughed afterwards, and he said, "You can't do that stuff anymore." And that really is, you cannot pull rank. People won't take it. I know people who change their clothes when the workmen are coming over, so they won't be in a jacket and tie.
To showcase his rigorous reporting, climaxing with The Right Stuff in 1979. In the mid-'80s, he switched to novels, including his most famous, Bonfire of the Vanities.
So it was journalism to start, and then it was your first novel at the age of 57.
Right.
And now it's back a bit to what you started with.
Exactly. I started working on newspapers as soon as I left.
It's true. And there really is no class. And what is this thing we call the middle class now? That's everyone with a job. And people, even in the days when they complained about the bourgeoisie and the middle class, they never complained about the upper class. Why were they left out? You'd think they'd really be on their cases.
School, graduate school, actually. I assumed when I first started working for newspapers, well, I'll be a novelist one day. But I lost total interest in being a novelist because this nonfiction was so exciting. I got a little carried away, and then the next book was a novel also. But I'm quite at home coming back to nonfiction in the kingdom of speech.
At 85, it seems Wolfe's only concession to time is the shirt.